The West Palm Beach, Florida Formwork Table Collapse by Jacob Reynolds. The project was a 20-story multifamily residential building named 333 Downtown in West Palm Beach, Florida. The site was at the intersection of a busy highway, South Dixie Highway and Fern Street. Cast Construction of West Palm Beach, Florida was the general contractor. The contractor responsible for formwork was Keiko Concrete Construction LLC of Tampa, Florida, and the owner was the Coulter Group. On September 1st, 2016, placement of the tables on the 15th level began around 7 a.m. Approximately 10 tables were placed on the 15th level. Table T27 was the last table that was placed that day. Once table T27 was placed on the floor, it needed to be leveled. The table setting crew performed the leveling and finished anchoring the table T27 legs. Then the foreman signaled the unhooking of the crane. Later in the afternoon, under high winds, table T27 bounced off the floor and fell to the ground. While the table tumbled over, it became entangled on one of the employee's personal fall arrest system. The PFAS snapped and the employee fell from the 15th level to the ground and was fatally injured. The wind gust that afternoon was over 30 miles per hour. There are several causes of this incident. The first was the structural adequacy of the table. After the table was installed, wind increased in the afternoon. Wind data obtained from the National Climatic Data Center recorded a wind speed of 23 miles per hour, gusting to 31 miles per hour. These wind speeds are recorded at 33 feet above the ground. The gust wind speed is magnified many times greater as the height increases. The table placed on the 15th level should have been designed to withstand loads from wind gusts, a normal occurrence in the area of the job site. This is particularly critical because the table is not connected to the adjoining tables to provide lateral support at the initial stage of erection. Consideration of high winds would require additional vertical supports or diagonal bracings anchored to the floor before the crane would release the table. As far as the means of anchoring the legs to the floor, the anchorage of said legs was done in a haphazard manner. Only the 2 front legs were anchored, the 2 rear legs were not anchored. The legs were provided with 4 holes, but only 1 anchor was provided in the front legs. And instead of using the required 1/2-inch diameter bolts with a minimum embedment of 2 inches, smooth concrete nails were used as the erection crew was reported to have run out of bolts. No consideration was given to the low withdrawal capacities of smooth nails. The table setting crew did not follow the Keiko best practice document for anchoring the table to the concrete slab. The table setting crew was supposed to anchor the table to the concrete before unhooking the crane. There was also a lack of instructions to the workers, as table T27 was different from other tables used at the site. It was distinctive because it had a 6 foot of cantilever on 2 sides. 3 additional shores were added in the professional engineering stamp drawing to limit the cantilever. The table setting crew did not add the 3 additional shores, and the table was installed with a cantilever of 6 feet on 2 sides. The table setting crew was working from an unsigned markup drawing where the additional shores were not shown. As far as what I would do different as a construction manager, I would have ensured that the erected tables were structurally adequate to withstand potential wind gusts, especially at the elevations the tables were being installed. Additionally, during and after installation, I would ensure that the tables were all properly braced prior to detaching the cable from the crane and placing it as a further means of mitigating risk. I would take it upon myself to directly supervise such a dangerous construction task as the lifting of a concrete formwork table, making it a point to verify that all anchoring is in place properly, and especially that any anchoring materials are within spec and able to withstand the force exerted on them. That these workers thought they could just use standard concrete nails to anchor such a critical load says at least that there was a severe lack of supervision and perhaps a surplus of complacency leading up to this accident. Beyond minding my company's best practices, I would additionally mind any and all regulatory and safety requirements set forth by such administrations as OSHA and any other relevant organizations. Finally, I can assure anyone who doubts me that I would never work off of unsigned drawings, be them for laying sod or for a high-risk activity such as concrete formwork table lift. That Keiko was working off of markup drawings demonstrates a clear lack of supervision and review on part of the cast construction team, and also a lack of professionalism and critical knowledge on part of the Keiko workers. I find this single part of the larger oversight leading up to the collapse of the formwork table and the death of a worker to be especially heinous. To assume any worker at any rung of the ladder within his trade would know better than to work off of unsigned markup drawings is not good practice. As a construction manager, I will want to trust my subcontractors, but this accident has convinced me that I will always verify what my subcontractors say and do.